Hey guys, I hope you're well. Speaking to you today from Dartmoor National Park. As you can see, it's an amazing, beautiful place to be. Highly recommend it. Anyway, guys, I want to talk to you today about what's happening in the financial markets. So it's very interesting because we're getting close to Halloween. Yeah, exactly. So Halloween has a special significance when it comes to the financial markets, the stock markets. Why? Because usually this is when you see what's called the Halloween effect. A lot of people think the Halloween effect means a scary time for the market. It's not true. It's the opposite. The Halloween effect simply means that the period from end of October, October 31st, to May the next year, tends to be a rather strong bullish period for the stock markets. By the way, just to let you know, the Halloween effect specifically refers to the stock markets, not so much Bitcoin. Bitcoin tends to do really well between the periods of October to December. That's true. So it's a kind of a Halloween effect for Bitcoin as well. But nonetheless, bottom line is that the stock markets experience what's called a Halloween effect. In other words, a very bullish period from the time the end of October, around about Halloween, to more or less December and going all the way to May of next year, which kind of makes sense because you probably heard the phrase sell in May and go away, because the summer period after May to October are usually a weak period for the markets, but the period from late October to May, in other words from Halloween to the May of next year, is usually a very bullish and a strong period for the stock markets. Now, so what does it mean? It means that potentially when the closer we get to Halloween, we might see a potential turning point, a major bullish signal for the stock markets. We'll come to this in a few minutes. The second thing I need to mention is this. We're also getting close to what's called a Dow theory buy signal. Why? Because a Dow theory buy signal usually gets triggered when two of the major indices in the world, like the S&P and the Dow, or the S&P and the Dow Transportation Index, when both of them break through important resistance levels. Well, guess what? The S&P is getting close to making an important breakout through the all-time highs of 3,025. So it's quite likely the S&P might break out above the 3,025 all-time highs. If the S&P gets above those levels, important resistance level, it's likely to trigger essentially a Dow theory buy signal. Now, I should just say, a Dow theory buy signal is just a technical term. It does not necessarily mean that, that everybody should go buy the stock market. That's not what it means. The point is a Dow theory signal simply is a technical term for a bullish or a bearish signal for the markets, which in this case, a Dow theory buy signal would be quite a bullish signal for the markets. Anyway, putting all that aside, here's the bottom line. I am not at all convinced, I'm not very much convinced that the stock markets are going to put in a major bullish rally until we drop down to at least the August lows. August lows are about 2,800 by that level. So I don't think we're going to see any major bullish signal on the stock markets, regardless of any Dow theory signal or regardless of the Halloween effect. So essentially what I'm saying is I don't think that either one of those signals, that the Halloween effect or Dow theory, are going to be that important until we drop down back again to the 2,800, maybe even down to the 2,740 levels there. Here's a reason for this, because the markets are already getting near resistance at previous all-time highs. Also because there's a lot of uncertainty and volatility that are potentially going to happen in the next few weeks. Now here's something you've probably heard, that the Prime Minister of Britain, Boris Johnson, is planning to announce potentially an election, a general election or a snap election very soon. Now we don't know if that's going to go ahead. There are still talks about this election, but it is pretty much a gamble. If he succeeds in getting this snap election, you can understand it's going to create a lot of uncertainty between now and December, because we don't know what's going to happen in the election, right? Now, you guys know I'm not a fundamentals guy. I don't really care about fundamentals or news, that kind of things. I'm a technicals person. But nonetheless, it is true that if Boris Johnson succeeds in getting this election, it's going to create a lot of uncertainty and a lot of volatility. Because as I'm sure you'll agree, in the past, snap elections have caused surprises. It is a gamble that Boris Johnson is taking here. We don't know what the result's going to be. If Boris Johnson succeeds, it's likely that his plan for Brexit is going to pretty much happen sooner than later. And of course, there's a lot of uncertainty about the whole Brexit. So the bottom line is, this whole uncertainty about an election happening in December is going to create a lot of uncertainty, a lot of volatility between now and December, I beg your pardon. And also it's a fact that the election happening next year in America, that's going to create a lot of uncertainty too. So you guys know that the next elections in November of next year, 2020, in America, that's also going to create a lot of uncertainty between now and then. In fact, I think the uncertainty is going to get so bigger and so huge that we're going to see a lot of chops up and down between now and next year, between now and November of 2020. So I'm not really expecting much of a bullish major rally in the stock markets until these uncertainties get out of the way. Now, I might end up being wrong on that simply because the stock markets are well known for climbing climbing a wall of worry is what it's called. But bottom line is the election happening potentially in the UK, uncertainties about Brexit, and potentially the election happening next year in 2020 in America. So many uncertainties around about that I think it's too early to imagine that the stock markets are going to cause a massive rally towards the 3,500. I think it's rather unlikely, but nonetheless, I'm going to keep an open mind. I think that if the stock markets were to drop down again to the August lows near 2,800, and if we see some kind of Halloween effect reversal signal, if we see some kind of bullish reversal signal run about after Halloween, between Halloween and say end of November or towards December. By the way, don't forget in December we also see what's called the Santa rally, the Santa Claus effect. So that's another thing to bear in mind. So anyway, it's going to get interesting between now and say November. Hey guys, check it out. We just have some kayakers behind us, so it's quite cool. All right guys, I think this video went a bit longer than I expected, so I apologize if it sent you to sleep. All right, sorry Kyle. Bottom line is, guys, I look forward to seeing you in the next video. It's going to get interesting between now and November anyway, and I'll see you guys in the next video update. Bye for now. Cheers.